They have a job, they make decent money. From the outside, they look financially comfortable. But after the grocery, insurance, childcare, and monthly bill are paid, there are almost nothing left.
Why is Atlanta so expensive? And I'm saying Atlanta, but I generally mean the entire state of Georgia. Anytime I go grocery shopping or fill up my gas tank, it feels like I'm spending more than I did a few days ago. And out of curiosity and obviously frustration, I started looking into why these prices keep climbing. It turns out there are policy decisions happening behind the scenes that affect what Georgia residents have to pay every single day. And I don't think people are getting too political. I just feel like as everyday life keeps getting more expensive, naturally everyone starts paying attention to what is going on. Is it just me?
The middle class isn't disappearing because people stopped working hard. It's disappearing because every basic necessity was converted into a financial extraction system. Housing became a speculative asset class for hedge funds. Healthcare became a corporate subscription model, and higher education became a lifelong debt trap. We don't have a productivity problem. We have an economy that drains every dollar in asset out of the working class before it could ever turn into wealth. And I've talked about this before. This is one of the most meticulous plans that has been executed to almost perfection. And they have been working on it for the better part of 7 decades. Actually 9 if you really want to get technical. But yeah, they drew it up and they've been working on it step by step, and it has been executed to perfection, the actual eradication of the middle class.
Yes, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Give it a try. Start that business.
The American dream has become an American nightmare. It is too expensive to buy a home. It's too expensive to get married and have kids. It's too expensive to retire comfortably. People are working hard every day. They're playing by the rules, but those rules of today weren't written for us. They were written for billionaires. We can't afford a home, but Jeff Bezos has at least a dozen. We can't afford to fill up our tank, but Mark Zuckerberg is launching helicopters off his mega yacht. 1 in 5 Texas children live in poverty, but one of our own residents became the world's first trillionaire. Those 3 men now own more wealth than the entire middle class. The top 1% has put the American dream behind a paywall.
I really don't understand tariffs. Honestly, I just know they f***ed us up.
All we heard was drill, drill, drill during the election, and now all we're getting is drilled into the dirt with these prices.
If you could talk to President Trump directly right now, what would you tell him?
Should you want me to really say it on air? I say, you. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to any leader, but he's disrespectful to us, and he doesn't care.
What you just heard right there, those are all former Trump voters from right here in Ohio. And right now, they're souring on President Trump.
The average American is struggling to make ends meet right now. And nobody wants to hear the war's almost over. Nobody wants to hear it's going to get better. You've had a year to make it better at this point. Make it better. Make America great again, right?
White working class voters propelled Trump to victory across the Midwest.
A vote for Trump is a vote to keep those manufacturing jobs in America and add a lot of jobs.
But for rank and file union members like Annette Dombrowski, whose factory is shutting down because manufacturing is moving to China, President Trump's campaign promises are ringing hollow.
He promised to impose tariffs that would bring back American manufacturing.
Don't get me started.
How do you feel about those tariffs and how they've impacted you?
Well, obviously it didn't work now, did it?
You've had a couple months to try and get a new job. What has that process been like?
Depressing. Since January, I have been applying, and it got so bad that I almost had a breakdown in March. I actually have panic attacks.
And Chris Tackett, a truck driver who voted for President Trump 3 times, says he's no longer a fan of the president.
He's backtracked on every single pitch point he had during his election. He's backtracking on. I think it was all smoke and mirrors during the second election. I think Trump is more concerned with getting even with his opponents this time around than he was looking out for the average Joe that supported him. And yeah, I'm just disappointed.
The fact that I'm at the dollar store grocery shopping because I can't afford to go to a regular grocery store is a problem in itself. But anyways, let's see if I can actually find myself breakfast, lunch, and dinner for under $20 at the dollar store. Okay, so for breakfast, we don't have many options. I guess we're just gonna have to go for a cereal. We either have, oh my gosh, Honey Nut Cheerios, Fruit Loops, or Frosted Flakes. Actually, you know what? Scratch the cereal. I'm feeling pancakes. Pancake mix? How much is this? I'm assuming if it doesn't have a price tag on it, then it's $1. Actually, never mind. $2.25 for a pancake mix? I feel like that's not too bad of a deal. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that they had butter at the dollar store. I swear that's supposed to be in the fridge though. Like, how is that out on the shelves? I'm not lying to you guys. I swear I saw this at the superstore for like $5. Dollarama. $2.50. Maybe I might be shopping at the dollar store a lot more often now because honestly, they got some good stuff here. I was just about to complain and be like, the only thing I wish that they had here was fruits and vegetables, but Dollarama has in fact proved me wrong. A whole selection of fruits and vegetables for $1. I think I'm gonna pick up these canned mandarins for only $1.25, which that's a steal. Oh my gosh, I found more canned peaches and canned pineapples. Oh my gosh, I can make a whole fruit cocktail situation here. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the dinner section are not the greatest. They have a lot of sardines, a lot of canned stuff. They also have pasta over there on that side. I'm not the biggest fan of sardines, so that's a no for me, but I do love a pasta, so we got a couple options. I love a penne pasta, so this one I'm definitely taking with me. And then we got a tomato sauce for $2.50. They also have seasonings here, so you don't have to eat like plain pasta, but they have a whole bunch. Lemon pepper seasoning, onion pepper, basil leaves, paprika. Oh my gosh, Parmesan cheese. I know Parmesan is expensive. $4.25. It is smaller than the ones that you get in a traditional grocery store, but like still. Parmesan cheese at the dollar store. And then I think I'm just gonna pick up some instant noodles for dinner. I'm not sure which one's the best one, but we'll just try this one out and see. I was a little bit worried on what I was gonna eat this week, but thankfully and surprisingly, the dollar store came through.
It's pretty crazy how expensive it is to be alive right now. I know that's something that we've all noticed, like the price of things are going up. Go to the grocery store, you're spending more money, getting less items. Then my grandfather used to tell me how when he was a child, he would go to the store with a nickel, buy some things, and come back with change. Think about that. Going to a store with a nickel, buying stuff, and having change left over. What happened? Is everything just more valuable now? Are things just naturally more expensive? Well, the more I've learned, the more I research, you see that it's inflation. Our dollar has lost its buying power because there's so much in circulation. When you allow the dollar not to be backed by anything of substance, no gold, no silver, they can just print as much of it as they want. Well, then that leaves us to be set up to be constantly on a rat wheel or a hamster wheel. Now, I've watched all these finance videos. They give you all these tips and tricks on investing and, putting your money in the right places, and eventually you can make it to that wealthy class. And that's all well and good. I'm going to do those things. I'm doing those things. But a smart person is intelligent enough to know, well, if I'm not in control of the policies that go into determining the value of my money, can you ever really truly have freedom when they can just change the rules, change how much is in circulation, and mess up the value of your dollar? That's pretty crazy to me. Like, can you have true freedom when somebody else is controlling your money? I always like to talk about books. Check out a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's about the creation of the Federal Reserve. And ever since they created the Federal Reserve, man, it's a game. We getting played.
The problem in this country is simple. Everything is too expensive and nobody has any money. People want us to focus on the issues right in front of them. And I think a year out from this bill being passed, people are losing health care. Housing is too expensive. And most of the benefits from it go to the people who already have loads and loads of money. What people want is simple. And I encourage my Republican colleagues to go out and knock doors in their neighborhood. Because when I knock doors, I hear about very simple things. People want a home that they can afford, lower rents. They want to make sure that they can have a place to call home. Donald Trump is refusing to sign one of the only things this Congress has actually done, which is move forward a bipartisan piece of legislation on housing. And he doesn't want to make your housing cheaper because he wants to make it harder for you to vote. And so he's refusing to sign the bill. People want health care that they can rely on, health care that they can actually afford without these crazy costs. People want a good job to support their family, where one job is enough and where you have a wage that can actually pay for your bills. People want childcare when and where they need it, which is something that we're going to work on delivering. And people also want time to spend with their family. They want paid and family sick leave. These are the things that people want. This is what I hear when I'm out knocking doors in my community. People don't want a bill like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is one of the most unpopular pieces of legislation, even though it has the word beautiful in it, in the history of this country, that gives most of the resources to the richest people. It couldn't be even clearer. We can keep cutting taxes for billionaires and making working families pay the price, or we can build an economy that actually rewards hard work and that actually rewards people, where healthcare is protected as a human right, is an American right, where housing is an American right, and where everybody has a fair shot of getting ahead.
All these companies are putting out their quarterly earnings and going, our profits are down, our profits are down. What can we do? Our profits are down. Well, there's three choices, and y'all are picking the third one. Y'all have been picking the third one for decades, which is raise your prices while underpay us. You could do one of the two first options, though. You could lower your prices, or you could pay us more, and then suddenly your profits will go back up. This is not fucking hard. It's that simple. But y'all just want to keep making sure your profits are sky high. Eventually, the well was going to run dry. And guess what? We have finally reached it. We have finally reached that point. And y'all are sitting there going, we don't know what's wrong. We keep putting out new promotions and deals. You mean the promotions and deals that are worse than the promotion and deal that you got rid of? And then you wonder why we don't want to go? Perfect example, the Dunkin' $6 meal deal. It used to be the egg sandwich and the hash browns and the coffee. Now, it's 2 fucking wake-up wraps and a coffee. I'm sure next month it'll be 1 wake-up wrap and a coffee. And then after that, it'll just be a coffee.
And they'll be going like, why aren't people buying this? Nothing is worth it anymore. You made life not worth living. Congratulations. You tapped the well dry. Did you think you were going to have record profits forever? You clearly did. I guarantee you that if all these companies went back to 2019 prices, everybody would spend their money again. Everybody would spend their money again. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They want to hang on to their record-breaking profits until their fucking fingers fall off. Go ahead and do it then. You ain't gonna win. You're already losing.
A poll from the AP and NORC shows 41% of Americans last month reported being concerned about being able to afford groceries over the next few months, up from 24% in April. Joining me now to break down the results of the poll is Jennifer Benz, director of the AP NORC Center for Public Affairs Research at the University of Chicago. Jennifer, thank you so much for making the time and joining us. So what stands out the most to you about this poll? What are people saying about the stress they're feeling about the economy and affording their basic needs?
Yeah, in our poll, which was taken in July, we're definitely seeing that many Americans are expressing economic concerns, and particularly this issue around grocery prices. We found that 41% of adults are extremely or very concerned about being able to afford their groceries in the next few months. But I think one thing that's unique is that we're also seeing concerns about other areas of the economy impacting people's stress over affordability as well. We see the proportion of adults that are concerned about gas prices starting to inch up as well. And it's really this idea that people are the kind of sort of compounding effects of people feeling concerned about prices from healthcare and housing and groceries and gas all hitting them at the same time.
Right. And how do the numbers in this latest poll compare to previous polls? Have you seen a major difference?
We have seen some changes. Again, we are seeing this impact of gas prices starting to inch up. And it's sort of that compounding effect. Other concerns about aspects of housing and healthcare, those concerns about the economy have been holding fairly steady for quite some time now.
Grand Rising family, think deep with me this morning right quick. We be looking at this shit too simple. We think getting paid automatically means freedom. But think deeper though. What do they actually give you? They give you money. And what do we need that money for? Damn near every fucking thing required to exist, right? Basically what I'm trying to say is they don't have to force us to participate no more. You feel me? Survival does that. That's the part that's deep. Because when somebody controls your body, you know you're not free. But when the system controls access to things your body need, you can feel free because nobody's physically holding you. Working a job today in 2026? No, it's not exactly like how slavery was back in the day. But see, the question ain't whether they're the same. This is the question right here. How free is a person when saying, I don't want to participate, can eventually cost you food, shelter, water, and security? Maybe freedom ain't just being allowed to leave. Maybe freedom is being able to survive after you do leave. Think about that.
They're trying to get rid of us. I don't know how else to describe this, bro. This is the number one reason after living in another country for 10 years, I see my own country through a different scope. It's very unfortunate because as soon as I returned, I tried to indulge. I really did everything I could to, nostalgically experience those things that I had consumed when I was younger, when I was here previously. I kind of missed that because it was an emotional relationship to that brand and to that product. But still, I was disappointed. Ate a honey bun, I was disappointed. Fast forward 3 weeks into me staying here, when I returned after 10 years away, I realized that I didn't go to the restroom. So there was no fiber in my diet. Strike two. The third thing is I realized after a year of being here, me consuming events, parties, birthday parties. Now, I limited my alcohol consumption. I didn't smoke a cigarette since 2024, the end of 2024, before I returned. No tobacco. Sugar. It's everywhere. It's everything. High fructose corn syrup, glucose. The other thing that I also noticed was the idea of us purchasing certain items during holidays that only have sugar. Here's the thing. I've noticed that we don't have the time to cook for ourselves. They keep us at a limited income or force us to a state of poverty so that we can only afford the limited amount of options, which all have either corn. Everything has corn in it. I get that we make corn here, but everything has corn oil, corn this, that, seed oil. It's everywhere. Unfortunately, when you are in a state of poverty, then you have a limited amount of time to take care of yourself. So what you do to keep the energy in order to have the time for your kids, for yourself, or whatever else, other things and other people, you become addicted to some kind of caffeinated product. You become addicted to it. If you're not addicted to something, what they do is they force you in a state of prescription. There's a prescription involved to anything that might need to help you to maintain your cycle of life. The reason I'm saying all these things, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to just one person. Why am I talking to multiple people? The reason I'm talking to you about this is because, unfortunately, I'm at a point where I'm really uncomfortable with being in this state. I do my best not to judge people. I do my best to understand that some people don't have the awareness of what is occurring. So I'm talking to you because this is my therapy. I feel like I'm going crazy when I see these things. I feel like I'm going insane when I am aware that this is a system that we are being forced to experience. They say that they care about us. They want us to vote for the people who make the laws for us, and then they want us to worship the people who are on our televisions, and then they want us to it's not. Why am I questioning my sanity when that sounds insane? What do those people do for me and my family? I want my family to be healthy and not forced to take these pills every day because they've been forced to. Here's the other thing. What I noticed since I'm ranting, we go through traumatic experiences, especially grief. Number one is, in my opinion, grief. With that traumatic experience, it forces us in a state of never being able to rehabilitate ourselves into normal society and a healthy lifestyle. Then we pass it down to our children, and in the meantime, it continues. So it's almost like we're teaching and preparing our children to be the same way we were instead of finding a way to break out the system. It's a system, bro. It's a system. I don't know. I want to leave. But I know that's not going to fix anything. So I'm just going to figure out a way to hack this mug and love the people around me, help them to get out of the system. Good morning, Dzień dobry.
So I think I'm about to be homeless. So let's go back. 8 years ago, I moved in here. It's private, and my landlady's absolute gem. She hasn't put my rent up since I've moved in. So I've been living my best life. It's not cheap, but it's cheaper than everywhere else. Anyway, she calls me up a little while ago, just as I was about to start decorating the living room, actually. And says, Lou, I need to sell, I'm getting older, and I just want the lump sum. So I was like, okay then. So, which is her prerogative. I've got absolutely no hate. Like, she even said, if you don't want to move, I won't sell. I'm never going to do that to anybody. Like, everyone's got to do what's best for them. So I've been looking. Tell me why everywhere within a mile or so from where I am now is about £500 more expensive, even for places that are worse than my place. To put it in perspective, I've got a 2-bedroom masonette with my own back garden. I need a garden because I've got the dog, and he doesn't like going out on walks really, so he needs to be able to run free. I wouldn't let him free outside because he's just so little. Anyway, so I am going on a house viewing. I phoned up a few places before because she let me know this a couple of weeks ago and I wasn't sure if I was going to say anything. Anyway, here we are. I'm going on a viewing today. This is the first viewing. I've lived here for 8 years and it's served me well. I have outgrown it, but I'm just not ready to move. Like, my mindset was, once my daughter leaves sixth form, because where her sixth form is, it's not very accessible, but there's a bus that goes from my house to there, like a school bus. So once she leaves there, I will buy somewhere that's in a village somewhere out of the way, because that's my goal. I want to live in a little village away from everybody. I don't want no neighbours. I don't want nothing. But now, I've got to move now, and I'm kind of, it has to be somewhere that she can get to school, to sixth form. easily, because otherwise it means that I've got to do the pickups and drop-offs constantly, and she's 15, give me a break. I do it a couple of days a week, but that's enough. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. Any advice anyone's got? Anyone got any properties, 2 bedrooms that they want to let me rent? Let me know. I hate moving. The thought of it just makes me filled with anxiety. Like when my daughter was little, I moved like every year or every 2 years, because it was like you'd move somewhere and then they'd be like, oh, we want our house back. What was the scheme that they had back then? Was it a rent deposit scheme or something, where they'd pay your rent and your first month's like on like a voucher type thing? I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot better now. I'm in a better position. Would I love a council house? Yeah. Am I going to wait 20 years for one? No. And my thing is as well, I work too hard and I'm too old to be told that I've got to live in a certain place. I don't think I can do it. So here we are. I haven't got it in me to go through a temporary accommodation battle. I've done that before I lived here. I think I was there about 18 months. It was horrendous. So anyway, come with me on this find a home journey. Otherwise, the new content will be come be homeless with me, which isn't what we're looking for.
I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty. Okay, when I lived with my parents, I was living my best luxury lifestyle. I went to South Korea, bought a 2000 plane ticket, didn't even blink twice. I went shopping, luxury goods, all that. Was traveling, was just, I was living it up. I felt rich. I had no bills. And I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. I was working as a nurse. Okay, I was killing it. I bought my own house. That first mortgage payment came in and I was like, oh, this is a situation. But at first you think you can handle it, right? Like, what's a couple thou? What's a couple thou? I got it. But then the pipes in my 80-year-old home broke immediately as soon as I bought the house. Wiped out my savings. Then another pipe in a different area of the house broke. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I need help. Then my neighbor's pipe, it was a twin house, her pipe broke. And she didn't believe that her pipe broke, but her pipe broke on my side of the house. So all of that water that was coming down was spraying into my home. And then my water heater broke. When I tell y'all, I went from living in the lap of luxury to destitute immediately. Now, don't get me to fooling y'all, because it was worth it in the long run, because that house is now worth like 2 times what it was worth then. So I'm actually doing pretty good. But at the time, when I tell you I was struggling, I had to go to my parents every other day for dinner because your girl could not feed herself.
Okay, all of my Californians, what are we doing? Are we grocery shopping still, or are we just eating out for the week? Because I just spent $182 on groceries. And I didn't even buy 5 proteins. I bought 4 proteins. And no junk food, like no cereal, no waffles, no fucking chips, none of that bullshit. I literally got proteins and veggies and fruits. $182. Oh, actually, I did get a bag of hot Cheeto fries. $182.
If you make more than $25 an hour, then consider yourself lucky. Because 91% of people who work in America do not make more than $25 an hour. That's how broke we all are.
I need a second here, okay? I need a second here because I saw something that made me mad. And then I thought about it, and then I looked it up, and now I'm like blind with rage. There was this lady who wrote an opinion for the Wall Street Journal being like, why is Gen Z so pessimistic? Every generation has it bad. And I started thinking about when I was Gen Z's age, because I have this thing called empathy. I know that billionaires fucking hate it, and they say that empathy is toxic and you shouldn't have that, and it's suicidal to be picturing yourself in the shoes of other people. But I was once in my mid-20s. I remember how much shit cost in my mid-20s. I'm in my 40s now. So I went and I looked up an apartment that I remembered having in 2009. I looked it up because I remember that rent. I remember that shit's burned into my head. I remember fighting with my roommates about that rent because sometimes they didn't have it. 2-bedroom apartment, just over 1,000 square feet. Nice part of town. Nice building. Guess how much that rent was? It was $800 a month. It was $800 a month for a 2-bedroom. That means the share was $400 for a room. $400 for a room in a nice town in Pennsylvania. I looked it up. I went on Zillow because Zillow fuck you up. I looked it up. I said, how much in that apartment complex? I went and I found it. I couldn't remember the address, but I remember the map. I found it. I scrolled through all the pictures. I go, that's the same fucking apartment. They haven't updated shit. That's the same oven. I remember that oven. I burnt DiGiorno in that oven. Guess how much my $800 apartment is now? My $800 two-bedroom apartment today? $2,400. What the fuck? We 3x'd it 3 times. That means if you divide it out, that one room I was paying $400 for, if I was going to move back into that bitch, that one room would cost me $1,200, $1,200. Here's the bitch that gets me the most, though, because she was going on, oh, Gen Z today, they make more money than people made back in then, blah, 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 blah. Guess what the minimum wage in Pennsylvania was in 2009? $7.25 an hour. But guess what it is today? $7.25 an hour. It ain't moved. Everything's gotten more fucking expensive. Everything. And then this bitch went on to go and say, oh, it's not like we're at war. We're at war. Every day shit gets more expensive. We all just paid tariffs. We paid tariffs that then got refunded to the companies, so the government just gave our tariff money to all the fucking companies. Do we get a discount? No. We're at a war where every other day the president tweets some shit and the gas prices go up. We can't trust our fucking food. We don't know if our job's going to exist because some weird tech billionaire might build a data center and shut our fucking job down. They have a right to be pessimistic. Everything's fucked.
So I just got denied or disqualified from a job I've been applying for like 10 months. I started applying in November of 2025. It's August 2026 now, and they just told me on one of the very last steps of the millions of steps I've had to do, sorry, you're being disqualified. You didn't pass. I don't understand why this could have not been an earlier step, maybe, so that I don't have to dedicate a year of my life to this for nothing. On top of that, one of the steps before this, granted it was a later step, but still, they needed to reach out to my current employer and ask them how I am as an employee. So I had to tell them, which, as you can imagine, is quite awkward. Thankfully, my boss was pretty receptive to it, but it was still awkward. It's been awkward because I'm still there, obviously, now that I lost this opportunity. And I would have gone for the supervisor role at my current job because I've been doing that anyways, and everyone assumed I'd be getting it, and I didn't because of this, and now they're already hired someone else because they're like, well, he's trying to leave, so why would we promote him? I just can't believe like this kind of stuff keeps happening. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, sorry. I've already cried like a million times. Like, it feels like I was just led on for so long. I was looking forward to this. There's gonna finally be that change I needed, and there's something really wrong with the way all this stuff works. Like, it's just not fair. I shouldn't have to apply for 10 months to a job and put my current job in jeopardy just to get denied. That's so much time wasted. Like, I wasted a year applying, and now I'm not going to be supervisor. I might have to start over somewhere else and prove myself again because this job knows I've been looking. So how long is that going to take? I got to find it and then work there a couple of years again to prove myself. It's just, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just so unfair. And these people, they stay up here at the top and keep people like me from being successful when I know I should be. Like, I outperform in every single role I've been at, but I just never get the promotions. I never get the jobs I want. They just try to keep me down. Sorry if I'm shaking. I don't know. If anyone else is going through this, like, it would be helpful to hear, and I'm sure there are. This is how the whole system is set up anyway, so I'm sure there's plenty of you. But, yeah, it just sucks, and I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Being broke sucks. I'm the brokest I've ever been right now, real time. And one of the parts that sucks most about being broke is realizing how many other people have it so much worse. How is that even possible? That's why you'll never be able to convince me if you are somebody who received or benefited from any public assistance and you're not speaking out about the government trying to cut so many of these funds, cut funding for these programs, you are a selfish piece of shit. You got yours, so you don't have to worry about anybody else. Is that the way you're thinking about it? And I understand not everybody has like a public platform. You don't have to do it on social media, but you could call your local representatives. You could speak to your coworkers about it. You could talk to your friends and family. Just voice your opinion and voice it loudly, because how do you think these movements start? It's with the people's voices, so use it.
Hi everyone, the countdown continues. There are now 59 sleeps left in my New York City apartment where I've lived for 3 years because our landlord is increasing our rent by $765 a month. I've been really disheartened to see how many other people, both in New York City and also other parts of the country, have suffered similar rent increases. So I just wanted to give some more information on rent regulations specifically in New York City and answer the question, is this legal? So New York City has around 2.3 million renter-occupied apartment units. Of that total, around 1 million are rent regulated. So this means these units are either rent stabilized or rent controlled. For a rent stabilized unit, around 960,000 units in New York City, these rents are set on a schedule every year, and these increases are voted on by the Rent Guidelines Board. If you're familiar with the mayor's Freeze the Rent initiative, this would apply to rent stabilized units. And then in New York City, another 1 million apartment units are unregulated, so they're not rent stabilized or rent controlled, and these are market rate units. So a market rate unit has different protections than obviously a rent regulated unit. In April of 2024, good cause eviction passed the New York State Legislature, and this bill covers rent protections for individuals that live in market rate units. Rent increases under good cause eviction are limited to inflation plus 5% each year, or a maximum of 10% a year total. However, these protections do not apply to units that are owned by landlords that own 10 or fewer apartment units in New York State. So apartment units like mine that are owned by a small landlord who owns 10 or fewer apartment units are not protected under good cause eviction. If you're in a similar situation, you can type into Google who owns what, and you're able to look up by your landlord or your building address to see what other properties your landlord might own, to see if they qualify as a small landlord with 10 or fewer units. I'm going to link a few resources in the caption, but one of them is you can look up good cause eviction and you're able to search if your apartment unit would qualify under good cause eviction protections. Let me know if this information was helpful or if folks have any other questions that maybe we could learn about together. Okay, thanks.
You'll work so hard just so that you can pay off rent, and then you realize that you can't even live in the house because you spend the whole day working to pay the rent. So who's living there?
And they need to make it illegal to raise the rent if ain't no changes been made to the apartment. Why are you raising it up every year and you ain't changed shit?
This is for the United States government, you big, fat, white, nasty, smelling, fat bitch. Because what do you mean? Because all I wanted to do was come home at the end of the day after applying for 10 to 12 jobs every day because I can't find employment because we live in manufactured poverty, in a manufactured employment crisis. Shut the fuck up. And I just wanted to do a little scrolly on my anti-Heidi suicide app. But no. I have to go. I have to raw dog life because I can't come home at the end of the day and just find a little bit of comfort. So you know what? Fuck you for that. Fuck you.